Maya had always been the type of person who planned everything. At 28, she worked at a big company in the city, wore smart clothes to work every day, and had her whole life mapped out like a GPS route. She dated guys who looked good, on paper, the kind her mother would approve of, the kind who drove nice cars and talked about their future plans over expensive dinners. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. When you least expect them, it was a Tuesday morning, and rain was pouring down like someone had turned on a giant faucet in the sky. Maya rushed into her usual coffee shop, shaking water from her umbrella and checking her phone for the 100th time that morning. The place was packed with other people escaping the storm, and there was only one empty table left. She hurried toward it, but so did someone else. They both reached for the same chair at the exact same time, and for a moment, their hands touched. Maya looked up, ready to politely claim the table, but the words got stuck in her throat. The man standing across from her had the kindest eyes she'd ever seen. Not the sharp, calculating look of the business type she usually met, but something warm and genuine. He was holding a beat-up camera bag and had paint stains on his fingers. "Looks like we both had the same idea," he said with a smile that reached his eyes. "How about we share? I promise I'm not weird or anything. I just really need coffee before I fall asleep standing up." Maya found herself nodding before she even realized it. This wasn't like her at all. She usually preferred to sit alone, check her emails, and mentally prepare for her day. But something about this stranger made her want to break her routine. "I'm Alex," he said, settling into the chair across from her. "And you look like someone who's having the kind of morning that requires at least 2 cups of coffee to fix." Maya laughed despite herself. "Is it that obvious? I'm Maya. And you're absolutely right about the coffee." As they waited for their orders, Alex pulled out his camera and showed her some pictures he'd taken around the city. They weren't the usual tourist shots everyone took. Instead, he captured moments most people would miss: an old man feeding pigeons in the park, a little girl's face lighting up at a street performer, the way morning light hit the windows of old buildings. "You see things differently," Maya found herself saying. "Most people just walk past these moments." "That's the thing about photography," Alex replied, his fingers tracing the edge of his camera. "It teaches you to really look at the world. There's beauty everywhere if you just slow down enough to notice it." Maya realized she couldn't remember the last time she'd slowed down for anything. Her days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and checking items off her endless to-do lists. She lived her life rushing from one thing to the next, always focused on what came next instead of what was happening right now. "What do you do when you're not taking pictures?" she asked. Alex grinned. "I'm a freelance photographer." "I know. No. It sounds very unstable and artistic. My parents remind me of that every time I call them. But I love it. Every day is different. One day I'm shooting a wedding. The next I'm documenting a local festival. And sometimes I just wander around the city looking for stories to tell." Maya tried to imagine a life without a regular schedule, without the security of a steady paycheck. It sounded terrifying and exciting at the same time. "That sounds amazing," she said, and meant it. "I work in marketing for a tech company. It's very predictable." "Predictable can be good," Alex said. "But tell me, do you love it?" The question caught Maya off guard. Love her job. She'd never really thought about it that way. She was good at it, it paid well, and it looked impressive on her social media profiles. But love, it's complicated. She finally answered. Alex nodded like he understood completely. Most good things are. They talked for over an hour, way longer than Maya had planned. She found herself telling Alex things she rarely shared with anyone. How she sometimes felt like she was living someone else's life. How she'd always wanted to travel but never made time for it. How she used to paint in college but gave it up because it wasn't practical. Alex listened to every word, asking questions that made her think, sharing stories that made her laugh until her cheeks hurt. When she finally looked at her phone, she realized she was going to be late for work for the first time in months. "I should probably go," she said, but she didn't move to get up. "Yeah, me too." Alex replied, but he stayed seated as well. They sat there for another few minutes, neither wanting to break the spell of their conversation. Finally, Alex reached into his bag and pulled out a pen. "I know this might sound crazy since we just met," he said, writing something on a napkin. "But I'd really like to see you again. Maybe I could show you some of those places I photograph. The city looks different when you're not rushing through it." Maya took the napkin with his number on it. 6 months ago, she would have politely declined. She would have made up some excuse about being busy or not having time for complications. But sitting there, looking at Alex's hopeful expression, she realized she didn't want to be that person anymore. "I'd like that," she said, and meant it more than she'd meant anything in a long time. As they finally gathered their things to leave, Alex turned to her one more time. "You know what I think," he said. "What? I think this rain was the best thing that happened to both of us today." Maya looked out at the storm, which was finally starting to calm down for the first time in years. She wasn't annoyed by the weather messing up her plans. Instead, she felt grateful for the unexpected detour that had led her to this moment. Walking back to her office, Maya couldn't stop smiling. She kept looking at the napkin with Alex's number, wondering what it would be like to see the city through his eyes. For someone who planned everything, the uncertainty felt surprisingly exciting. She had no idea that this random Tuesday morning would change everything. But sometimes the best stories start with the most ordinary moments: a rainy day, a crowded coffee shop, and to people who weren't looking for anything but found something beautiful anyway. 3 weeks had passed since that rainy Tuesday morning, and Maya found herself doing things she'd never imagined. Instead of spending her Saturday morning at the gym followed by grocery shopping and meal prep, she was walking through an old neighborhood she'd driven past 1,000 times but never really noticed. Alex had texted her the night before with a simple message: "Want to see something cool tomorrow? Bring comfortable shoes." Maya had almost said no. She had laundry to do, reports to review, and a dozen other tasks on her weekend to-do list. But something about Alex's enthusiasm was contagious, and she found herself saying yes before she could overthink it. Now, walking beside him through narrow streets lined with colorful murals, Maya realized she'd been living in the same city for years without really seeing it. Alex stopped every few blocks to point out details she would have missed. The way morning light caught the edges of old brick buildings, a tiny garden someone had created in the space. Between two shops, the stories told through street art that covered entire walls. "See that mural there?" Alex pointed to a wall covered in vibrant blues and greens. "The artist comes here every few months and adds something new. It's like a visual diary of the neighborhood." Maya found herself really looking at the artwork, noticing how each section seemed to tell a different story. "It's beautiful," she said. "I drive this route to work sometimes, but I never had time to stop and look." Alex finished with a knowing smile. "Exactly." Maya felt a little embarrassed. "I'm always rushing somewhere. I used to be like that too," Alex said, as they continued walking, always focused on the next thing, the next goal, the next deadline. "But photography taught me that life happens in the moments between destinations." They stopped at a small cafe that Maya had never noticed before. Despite working just a few miles away, the owner, an elderly woman with kind eyes, greeted Alex. "Like family, Alex. You brought a friend today," she said, beaming at Maya. "First time here, yes? And I can't believe I've never found this place before," Maya replied, looking around at the cozy space filled with local artwork and the smell of fresh coffee. "The best places are often hidden in plain sight," the woman said with a wink. "What can I get you?" As they sat with their coffee, Alex pulled out his camera and showed Maya more of his recent work. Unlike the polished, corporate photography she was used to seeing, his pictures had soul. There was a photo of 2 kids playing in a fountain, their laughter almost audible through the image. Another showed an old man reading a book in the park, completely absorbed in his own world. "These are incredible," Maya said, studying each photo. "You don't just take pictures, you capture feelings." Alex's face lit up. "That's exactly what I try to do. Anyone can document what something looks like." but I want to show what it feels like to be there. Maya thought about her own work, creating marketing campaigns that looked perfect but often felt empty. I wish I could do something that meaningful, she said quietly. What did you want to be when you were little? Alex asked. Maya laughed. You'll think it's silly. Try me. I wanted to be an artist. I used to spend hours drawing and painting. My room was covered with pictures I made. Maya could still remember the joy she'd felt with a paintbrush in her hand. The way time seemed to disappear when she was creating something. What happened to that dream? Life, I guess. My parents convinced me I needed something more stable, more practical. Art was just a hobby, not a real career. Maya traced the rim of her coffee cup. I haven't picked up a paintbrush in years. Alex was quiet for a moment, then reached into his bag and pulled out a small sketchbook. I carry this everywhere, he said. Sometimes I sketch ideas for photos, sometimes I just draw whatever catches my eye. It keeps that creative part of me alive. He flipped through pages filled with quick sketches, people on the subway, interesting building details, even a drawing of Maya from their first meeting at the coffee shop. She looked different in his drawing, more relaxed and genuine than she saw herself in mirrors. You drew me? Maya asked, touched. You had this expression when you were talking about your job that day, like you were seeing something clearly for the first time. I wanted to capture that moment. Maya stared at the sketch, seeing herself through Alex's eyes. She looked happy. When was the last time she'd felt that way about anything? After coffee, Alex suggested they visit a local art gallery. Maya had driven past it countless times, always telling herself she'd go someday. Inside, they wandered through rooms filled with paintings, sculptures, and photographs created by local artists. Look at this one, Alex said, stopping in front of a painting that showed a city street during a thunderstorm. The artist managed to capture the energy of the storm and the calm of the people. Taking shelter, Maya studied the painting, noticing details she wouldn't have seen before meeting Alex, the way the artist used light and shadow, how the colors seemed to move across the canvas, the emotion in each brushstroke. I remember feeling like this when I painted, she said softly, like I was putting a piece of my soul onto the canvas. That feeling doesn't go away, you know? Alex said, it's still there, waiting for you to rediscover it. They spent the afternoon exploring the gallery, with Alex pointing out techniques and styles while Maya found herself remembering things she'd learned in art classes years ago. She felt something awakening inside her, a creative hunger she'd buried under years of practical decisions. As they walked back to their cars, Maya realized the day had flown by without her checking her phone once. She'd been completely present, completely engaged, completely herself. Thank you, she said to Alex. I haven't felt this alive in a long time. This is just the beginning, Alex replied. There's so much more to see, so many more moments to discover, if you want to, that is. Maya looked at him, then back at the neighborhood they'd explored together. 6 months ago, she would have seen this area as just another part of the city to drive through. Now she saw it as a place full of stories, full of life, full of possibilities. I want to, she said, surprising herself with how certain she sounded. As she drove home, Maya couldn't stop thinking about the day. She'd seen her own city through completely new eyes, remembered parts of herself she'd forgotten existed, and felt more connected to the world around her than she had in years. For the first time in a long time, Maya was excited about what tomorrow might bring. Alex had shown her that life could be an adventure, even in the most familiar places. She just had to be willing to slow down and really see what was around her. That night, instead of reviewing work emails, Maya found herself sketching. For the first time in years, her hand was rusty, but the joy was still there, waiting to be rediscovered. Maya stared at her phone screen, reading the message for the third time. Her heart was racing, and she could feel her hands getting sweaty. 2 months of dating Alex had been the happiest she'd felt in years, but now everything was about to get complicated. The message was from Ryan, her ex-boyfriend from 2 years ago. They had dated for almost 3 years, and everyone had expected them to get married. Ryan was everything her family loved, successful lawyer, expensive car, house in the suburbs, and a 5-year plan that included marriage, kids, and a retirement account that would make her parents proud. Hey Maya, I'm back in town for good. New job at the firm downtown. I know we ended things badly, but I've been thinking about us a lot. I made a mistake letting you go. Can we talk? I think we could have something really special this time. Maya set her phone down and rubbed her temples. Ryan represented everything she used to think she wanted: security, stability, a future that looked perfect on paper. He was the safe choice, the smart choice, the choice that made sense to everyone around her. But then there was Alex. Just thinking about Alex made her smile. Over the past 2 months, he'd shown her a completely different way to live. They'd spent weekends exploring hidden corners of the city, having deep conversations that lasted until sunrise, and laughing until their stomachs hurt. With Alex, she felt like she could be completely herself, messy, uncertain, creative, and real. The problem was, Alex's life was the opposite of stable. He lived in a small apartment above a bookstore, drove an old car that broke down regularly, and never knew exactly how much money he'd make each month. Her parents had met him once and spent the entire evening asking pointed questions about his career prospects. Maya's best friend Lisa had been even more direct. I don't get it, Maya. You're throwing away everything you've worked for. What about your 5-year plan? What about buying a house? What about having kids? How's a freelance photographer going to provide for a family? These questions had been eating at Maya for weeks. She'd always been the responsible one, the planner, the person who made smart decisions. Dating Alex felt like stepping off a cliff without knowing if there was a safety net below. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Alex. Hey beautiful, I have some news. Remember that travel photography opportunity I mentioned? It's real. 3 months in Thailand documenting local communities. It's a dream project, but here's the thing, I'd love for you to come with me. I know it's crazy, but imagine the adventures we could have. Think about it. Maya's heart stopped. 3 months in Thailand? She'd never been anywhere more exotic than a beach vacation in Florida. She had vacation days saved up, but using them all at once seemed impossible. Her boss would never approve it. Her parents would think she'd lost her mind. But the idea sent a thrill through her that she couldn't ignore. Maya walked to her bathroom mirror and stared at her reflection. The woman looking back at her seemed different from the one who'd rushed into that coffee shop 2 months ago. Her eyes were brighter, her smile more genuine. She'd started painting again, taking weekend art classes, and even submitted some of her work to a local gallery. What do you want? She asked her reflection. The answer came immediately. Without hesitation, she wanted Alex. She wanted adventure. She wanted to see what life could be like if she stopped playing it safe and started living it fully. But wanting something and choosing it were 2 different things. Maya's phone rang. It was her mother. Hi, sweetheart. I was just talking to Mrs. Chen from next door, and she mentioned she saw Ryan at the grocery store. He said he was back in town and looking forward to reconnecting with old friends. Her mother's voice had that hopeful tone Maya knew all too well. You know, I always thought you 2 were perfect together. He's doing so well at that law firm. Mom, Alex and I are dating. Remember? Oh, that photographer boy. Maya, honey, I know you think you're happy, but let's be realistic. What kind of future can you build with someone like that? Ryan could give you everything: security, a beautiful home, a stable life. Don't you want those things? Maya closed her eyes. She did want those things, or at least she thought she did. But she also wanted something her mother had never mentioned. She wanted to feel alive, to feel like she was living her own life instead of following someone else's script. After hanging up, Maya sat on her couch and made a list. On one side, she wrote Ryan and underneath listed all the practical reasons why getting back together with him made sense: stable income, her parents' approval, a clear path to marriage and kids, financial security, social acceptance. On the other side, she wrote Alex and tried to list practical reasons. The page stayed mostly blank. There was no 5-year plan with Alex. No guarantee of financial stability, no clear path to anything. But then Maya flipped the paper over and started writing what Alex gave her that couldn't be measured in dollars or social approval. He made her laugh every single day. He listened to her dreams and encouraged her to pursue them. He saw beauty in ordinary moments and helped her see it too. He accepted her completely, moody mornings and all. He made her feel like the most interesting person in the world. With Alex, she'd rediscovered parts of herself she'd forgotten existed. She'd started painting again, exploring new places, taking risks, and living in the moment instead of constantly planning for the future. Maya looked at both lists and realized something important. Choosing Ryan would be choosing the life everyone else wanted for her. Choosing Alex would be choosing the life she wanted for herself. Her phone buzzed with another message from Ryan. "I'm free tomorrow night. There's this new restaurant downtown I think you'd love, just like old times." Maya stared at the message, then at Alex's earlier text about Thailand. Two paths stretched out in front of her, leading to completely different futures. One was safe, predictable, and approved by everyone around her. The other was uncertain, exciting, and authentically hers. She thought about the woman she'd been 2 months ago, stressed, unhappy, living for other people's expectations. Then she thought about the woman she'd become with Alex, creative, adventurous, genuinely happy. Maya had always been good at making the smart choice. But for the first time in her life, she wondered if the smart choice and the right choice were the same thing. As she sat there in her apartment, Maya realized that whatever decision she made would change everything. There would be no going back, no undoing this moment. The question was, what kind of life did she want to live? Maya picked up her phone and started typing a response. Her finger hovered over the send button as she took a deep breath, knowing that her answer would determine everything that came next. Maya's hands were shaking as she typed her response to Ryan. "I'm sorry, but I can't have dinner with you. I'm with someone else now, and I'm really happy. I hope you understand." She hit send before she could change her mind, then immediately opened Alex's message thread. Her heart was pounding as she typed, "Yes to Thailand. Yes to adventure. Yes to everything. When do we leave?" The response came back in seconds. "Are you serious? Really? Maya, this is going to be incredible. I can't believe you said yes." Maya couldn't believe it either. She just made the biggest leap of faith in her entire life, and she was terrified and excited at the same time. She had 3 weeks to arrange everything, time off work, travel documents, and somehow convince her boss that this wasn't career suicide. The next morning, Maya walked into her manager's office with sweaty palms and a speech she'd practiced in the mirror. Mr. Rodriguez looked up from his computer, surprised to see her there so early. "Maya, what can I do for you?" "I need to talk to you about taking some extended time off," she began, trying to keep her voice steady. "I know this might sound crazy, but I have an opportunity to travel to Thailand for 3 months, and I'd like to work remotely if possible." Mr. Rodriguez leaned back in his chair, raising an eyebrow. "Thailand? This is pretty sudden, isn't it?" Maya took a deep breath. "I know it seems out of character for me, but I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been with the company for 5 years, and I've never taken more than a week off. I'm burned out, and I think this experience could actually make me a better employee when I come back." To her surprise, Mr. Rodriguez smiled. "You know what, Maya? I've been wondering when you'd finally take a real break. You've been working nonstop since you started here. If you can handle the Peterson account remotely and check in with the team twice a week, I think we can make this work." Maya nearly fell out of her chair. "Really? You're okay with this? You're one of our best people." "Maya, a happy employee is a productive employee. Besides, having someone with international experience could be valuable for our global campaigns." Walking out of her boss's office, Maya felt like she was floating. The hardest part was over, or so she thought. That evening, she had dinner with her parents to break the news. Thailand. Her mother nearly choked on her water. "For 3 months? With that photographer? His name is Alex, Mom. And yes, this is important to me." Her father set down his fork. Maya, sweetheart, I don't understand. You have a good job, a stable life here. Why would you throw that away for some adventure? I'm not throwing anything away, Dad. I'm taking a break to experience something new. When did wanting to see the world become a bad thing? It's not the traveling we're worried about. Her mother said gently, It's this boy. What do you really know about him? What if something goes wrong? What if he leaves you stranded in a foreign country? Maya looked at her parents, seeing the genuine concern in their eyes. I know you're worried, but Alex isn't some random guy. He's kind, responsible, and he makes me happier than I've been in years. I need you to trust me on this. The conversation continued for another hour, with her parents alternating between worry and disappointment. But Maya stood firm. For the first time in her life, she was making a decision based on what she wanted, not what everyone else expected. 3 weeks later, Maya found herself in an airplane seat next to Alex, watching the clouds pass by below. She'd never been on a flight longer than 4 hours, and the 14-hour journey to Bangkok felt like stepping into another world. Having second thoughts, Alex asked, noticing her gripping the armrest, maybe a few third and fourth thoughts. Maya admitted with a nervous laugh, But I'm here, aren't I? Alex took her hand. We're going to have the most amazing time. I promise. The first week in Thailand was overwhelming in the best possible way. The heat, the sounds, the smells, the incredible food, everything was different. From anything Maya had experienced, Alex was in his element, camera in hand, capturing the vibrant life of Bangkok's streets. Maya found herself seeing the world through new eyes. She watched Alex work, seeing how he connected with people despite language barriers, how he found beauty in unexpected places, how he approached each day with curiosity instead of fear. You're different here, Alex told her one evening as they sat at a street food stall, sharing pad thai and laughing at their attempts to communicate with the vendor. Different how? More relaxed, more yourself. You smile more, you worry less. You're not constantly checking your phone or talking about work. Maya realized he was right. Away from familiar pressures and expectations, she found parts of herself she'd forgotten existed. She was sleeping better, eating food she'd never tried, having conversations with strangers, and living completely in the moment. But the trip wasn't all smooth sailing. There were moments of culture shock, times when Maya felt overwhelmed by how different everything was. One particularly difficult day, she got food poisoning and spent hours feeling miserable in their tiny hotel room. I want to go home, she cried to Alex, feeling sorry for herself. Alex sat beside her, bringing her water and speaking softly. I know it's hard sometimes. Being somewhere completely new can be scary, but you're stronger than you think. Maya, look at everything you've already done. You left your comfort zone. You trusted yourself enough to be here. That takes incredible courage. As Maya recovered, she realized that Alex was right. She had been braver than she'd ever given herself credit for. Every day brought new challenges, but she was handling them, adapting, growing. 2 months into their trip, while sitting on a beach in southern Thailand watching the sunset, Maya had a moment of perfect clarity. She wasn't the same person who had rushed into that coffee shop months ago. She wasn't even the same person who had gotten on the plane to Bangkok. I used to think happiness meant having everything planned out, she told Alex as they watched the waves. But now I think it means being brave enough to let life surprise you. Alex smiled and pulled her closer. Look at you, becoming a philosopher. I'm serious though. I spent so many years trying to build the perfect life that I forgot to actually live it. This trip, being with you, it's taught me that the best things happen when you're willing to take risks. As their last week in Thailand approached, Maya felt a mix of sadness and excitement. She was ready to go home, but she was also different now. She discovered that she was braver, more adaptable, and more capable than she'd ever imagined. The woman who would return home was someone who had learned to trust herself, to embrace uncertainty, and to choose love over fear. She'd learned that the most beautiful adventures begin when you stop playing it safe and start living authentically. Maya looked at Alex, then at the incredible sunset painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, and knew that choosing this path had been the best decision of her life. The airplane wheels touched down at the airport, and Maya felt a strange mix of emotions. After 3 months in Thailand, home felt both familiar and foreign at the same time. She was excited to be back, but she was also nervous about how everything would fit together now that she was a different person. Alex squeezed her hand as they walked through the terminal. "Welcome home," he said with a smile. "It feels weird, doesn't it?" Maya replied, looking around at the familiar sights. "Like we're the same people, but also completely different." The first few weeks back were harder than Maya had expected. Her apartment felt too quiet after the bustling streets of Bangkok. Her office seemed smaller and grayer than she remembered. Even her favorite coffee shop felt different, though she couldn't quite put her finger on why. Maya's co-workers were curious about her trip, asking to see photos and hear stories. But Maya found it difficult to explain how much the experience had changed her. How could she describe the feeling of watching sunrise over ancient temples, or the joy of learning to cook Thai food from a grandmother who spoke no English but communicated through smiles and gestures? "You look different," her friend Lisa said over lunch. "More, I don't know, confident, relaxed. I feel different," Maya admitted. "Like I finally know who I am instead of who I thought I should be." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "And Alex, how's that working out now that you're back to real life?" Maya smiled. "He's not a vacation romance, Lisa. What we have is real." But even as she said it, Maya wondered how their relationship would work now that they were back to their normal routines. In Thailand, they'd been together 24 hours a day, sharing every experience. Now they each had their own apartments, their own work, their own lives to balance. The first real test came when Maya's parents invited them both to dinner. Maya could see the tension in her mother's face as she tried to make conversation with Alex about his photography work. "So, Alex," her father said, cutting into the steak, "what's your long-term plan?" "Photography seems like a hobby more than a career." Maya felt her jaw tighten, but Alex handled the question gracefully. "I understand your concern, sir. Photography might not be as predictable as other careers, but it's my passion and my livelihood. I've been supporting myself this way for 5 years now, and my client base keeps growing." "But what about stability? What about planning for the future?" her mother pressed. "I believe in planning," Alex replied calmly, "but I also believe in being flexible enough to take opportunities when they come. Like the Thailand project that led to 3 new clients and a potential book deal." Maya watched her parents' faces, seeing them slowly warming to Alex despite their reservations. He was respectful but confident, answering their questions honestly without getting defensive. After dinner, as they walked to Alex's car, Maya felt proud of how he'd handled himself. "Thank you for being so patient with them," she said. "They love you," Alex replied. "They're just worried because they don't understand what we have. But they'll come around." Maya hoped he was right, but she also realized that their approval wasn't as important to her as it used to be. She'd learned to trust her own judgment, to make decisions based on what felt right for her life. The real challenge came a few months later when Maya had to decide whether to take a promotion at work. The new position would mean more responsibility, more money, and more hours. It was everything she used to think she wanted. "What does your heart tell you?" Alex asked as they talked about it over dinner. Maya considered the question. "Honestly, I'm not sure I want to spend even more time at the office. I love my job, but I also love having time for other things now. Painting, traveling, spending time with you." "Then maybe that's your answer." Maya ended up turning down the promotion, choosing instead to negotiate a better work-life balance in her current role. Some of her co-workers thought she was crazy, but Maya felt peace with her decision. Meanwhile, Alex's career was taking off. The photos from their Thailand trip had led to several magazine features and a gallery showing. Maya watched him present his work to a room full of people, talking passionately about the stories behind each image, and felt incredibly proud. "You know what I love about your photography," Maya told him later that night. "It's not just beautiful, it makes people feel something. It makes them care about places and people they've never met. Alex smiled. That's what I hope for. I want my work to build bridges between different worlds. As their relationship deepened, Maya and Alex learned to navigate the practical aspects of building a life together. They had different approaches to money, different social circles, different family dynamics, but they also had something more important: genuine respect for each other and a shared commitment to growing together. Maya started painting again, seriously this time. She set up a small studio in her apartment and began creating pieces inspired by their travels. Alex encouraged her to enter some local art competitions, and to Maya's surprise, she won second place in the citywide contest. I can't believe I stopped doing this for so many years, Maya said, looking at her latest painting, a vibrant street scene from Bangkok. You're making up for lost time, Alex replied, wrapping his arms around her from behind, and you're just getting started. One evening, as they sat on Maya's balcony watching the sunset, Alex turned to her with a serious expression. Maya, I want you to know something. Choosing to be with me wasn't just about rejecting your old life. It was about choosing to build something new, something that belongs to both of us. Maya nodded, understanding what he meant. I know, and I want you to know that I don't regret it for a second, even when it's been hard, even when people don't understand. I've never doubted that this was the right choice. What do you think comes next? Alex asked. Maya looked out at the city lights beginning to twinkle in the distance. I don't know, she said. And for the first time in her life, that uncertainty felt exciting instead of terrifying. But I know we'll figure it out together. Alex smiled and took her hand. Together sounds perfect. As Maya sat there with Alex, watching the day fade into night, she reflected on how much her life had changed. She was no longer the woman who lived by rigid plans and other people's expectations. She was someone who had learned to trust herself, to embrace uncertainty, and to choose love over fear. The future stretched ahead of them, full of possibilities and adventures yet to be discovered. Maya didn't know exactly what would happen next, but she knew that whatever came, she would face it with courage, authenticity, and the love of someone who saw her exactly as she was and loved her for it. She had chosen Alex, but more importantly, she had chosen herself, and that choice had made all the difference.